Welcome back, guys, to CryptosRUs. I am George. I'm having a special late night session for you guys to give you an urgent update on Bitcoin's next move. Of course, from this morning, if you guys tuned in this morning, Bitcoin did shoot up past 34,500 once again, and things were looking pretty good. But all of a sudden, this afternoon and tonight, it came right back down and gave away all the gains. So what is Bitcoin up to? What is the next move? That is the point of today's stream. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I have these normally at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, but I'm having one again tonight because a lot of you guys can't tune in the morning. A lot of you guys enjoy my night sessions when I'm drinking possibly a little, and hopefully you guys are too. So let's get to it. There's not a lot for me to show you guys, but there are a few more bullish articles. It seems like there's more bullish news every single minute, and there is so much. That is why Bitcoin's price movement, sometimes it's a head scratcher, right? So let's do this. Let's get started. All right, let me change my screen here. There we go. Okay, so like I said this morning, Bitcoin surpassed 34.5. It was on a tear, right, from last night. And basically it came back down a little bit. So what is going on, right? What is Bitcoin's next move? So I have two perfectly good explanations for you guys. Number one is this, actually, according to the chart, I'm not even talking about a longer time frame, but just even on a shorter time frame, on like the 1 hour, this is actually looking like it's shaping up to be very, very good. And if it holds true, we're going to see some explosive movement tomorrow. So number one, let me show you what I'm seeing on the 1 hour. So I zoomed in on purpose, but you could see that, yeah, that looks pretty bad, right? It looks pretty bad that Bitcoin fell down, 2,000 points since this morning. But if you zoom out a little bit, and then you'll realize that, you know what? It's actually just following a pattern. And you could see that I have drawn a trend line over here, and it kind of shows you what the trend is looking like. It's forming higher lows. So obviously this one that we had not too long ago dropped Bitcoin down to about 28,000. People were freaking out, right? The whales did their job, caused a lot of doubt in people's minds. But guess what? Bitcoin recovered. It came right back up, right? Hovered around 34,000, right? Then kind of slid down a little bit. And that's when Bitcoin hit about $31,000, and that was just a day ago or 2 days ago. Then this morning, we shot up all the way to 34.5, and now tonight it came back down. But you could see the pattern here, right? The lows are getting higher, right? And you look at some of these indicators, they're looking pretty good, especially on the hour chart. I like the hour chart. Our chart basically, it forecasts what's going to happen basically for the next 8 to 12 hours. And you can see that stochastic is bottomed out. It bottomed out right at the point when Bitcoin hit this trend line, which is around $32,000. Now, it's not too much higher. It's not that much higher from there, but it is holding above, right? And RSI is pretty low. And another indicator that I have not brought out for a long time is the MACD. And the MACD is now swinging up from major red to pink, and pretty soon it's going to turn green, right? So right now, Bitcoin is actually, according to 1 hour, looking pretty good. But a lot of people care about the longer term, right? And if you go to the daily also looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. And the same kind of indicators are showing the same thing, where everything's on the upswing. MACD is on the upswing, RSI, stochastic RSI, and those of you guys that recognize patterns, this kind of looks like a giant, bull flag or bull pennant, right? If you actually draw out the line. So a lot of these indicators, from a technical standpoint, looks pretty darn good. But of course, you guys know I concentrate on the fundamentals, and the fundamentals keep getting better and better and better. And let me show you what I'm talking about. But I just want to show you that up front because, it looks pretty good to me. Now, the thing is, if this changes short term, if there's some kind of whales that want to do some more selling and want to cause some massive panic, as they did here, and you could see the volume just spiked up. Right now, the volume is kind of just, it's kind of average. not too high, but all of a sudden you see some massive selling, right? Obviously things could change and it could drive Bitcoin down to possibly that 30,000 mark once again. And you know what? I think if it does, it's probably going to bounce back. The 30,000 seems to be a pretty good support at this point. But you know what? Bitcoin is resilient, and the bears, they seem to be, they're doing their best to cause a lot of FUD and doubt right now. But, the bulls are not going away. The bulls are not just letting the bears do their thing like before. There's just so much buying going on. So right now, it's kind of like a battleground, but we all know what's going to happen. The bears are going to get slaughtered, the bulls are going to win, and Bitcoin is going to go much higher. And here are some reasons why. Number one, Cathie Wood, again, comes out. She's the CEO and one of the co-founders of ARK Invest. She came out and said more tech companies will adapt Bitcoin as a treasury reserve. She said large companies are basically calling her left and right and asking her if they should follow Square or also MicroStrategy's lead. So this is a big endorsement. Cathie Wood is a very smart gal. ARK Invest is a very respected fund company, and they made a ton of money with Tesla, but what people don't realize is she also been a Bitcoin supporter for a long time. She actually has Bitcoin in her fund already, right? And she sees what's coming. Just like Michael Saylor, she sees how basically the landscape has changed, that all these big tech companies are now coming to her and asking her, hey, should I buy some Bitcoin with my cash? And this is why I think that blockchain or Bitcoin for corporations that Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, they're preparing for next week, I think it's going to be massive. It's going to be absolutely massive. It's a free conference for any corporation, multi-million, multi-billion-dollar corporations. They're all going to be sending their people there, and they're going to learn the playbook from MicroStrategy. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe Cathie Wood would show up, right? But this is another big endorsement from someone really well respected, basically, confirming that interest is high. Institutional FOMO is not a fake thing. Everyone is looking into it. They might not all be buying at the same time, but they are definitely looking into it. All right, so that just came out. That was pretty big. Guess what? JP Morgan, of course, comes out again and gives 3 reasons why you should add Bitcoin to your investment portfolio. JP Morgan seems to be like flip-flopping daily. Just yesterday, I remember reading an article about JP Morgan said that, 40,000 might be the top for Bitcoin. And now another analyst from JP Morgan says, no, here are 3 reasons why you need to add Bitcoin to your investment portfolio. So I'm not going to go through all 3, but here's the biggest thing that you need to take from this article. First, to quote, Bitcoin has already achieved the fastest ever price appreciation of any must-have asset to which it is often compared. So, for example, gold in the 70s went up, Japanese equities in the 80s, US tech stock of 90s, Chinese equities of 2000s, commodities in 2000, FANG stocks in 2010s. These are the biggest growing assets ever in history, right? And they're all charted from the start, and to basically to the finish, right? And look at Bitcoin compared to all of them. Bitcoin has surpassed them in every single measurement there is, from start to finish in terms of percentage growth, right? It is outperforming every single one. This is mind-boggling if you think about it. You have gold bugs, you have stock bugs, you have like tech stock, FANG stock, bugs. They're all bragging about how much money they made, right? But if you compare all of that to Bitcoin, nothing compares. And this is just the beginning. This will continue to go up while everything else moves sideways or down, right? So this is the biggest reason. Who cares what the other 3 reasons are? This is the biggest reason why you need to have Bitcoin in your portfolio. You need to own some Bitcoin because it is simply the fastest growing asset out there in history of assets, right? So that's a pretty good chart. That's a pretty good chart if you ask me. All right, what else is there? Harvard and Yale and Brown endowments have been buying Bitcoin for at least a year. We have heard recently, pension funds, retirement funds, endowments, they have been buying Bitcoin left and right, and now it's been leaked that some of the most prestigious schools out there, Ivy League schools, Harvard, Yale, Brown, have been buying Bitcoin for at least a year. So who knows how much they bought? You know, at least a year. You go back a year, Bitcoin is still around 10,000, you know, maybe a little bit above. So whatever they bought, they tripled their money already, right? And why did they buy Bitcoin? I don't know. Is it because of the same fears? Is it to profit off of, to do research? Is it to hedge against inflation? Who knows? But again, you know, I've been telling you guys, I show you guys these charts about how, you know, there's a lot of public traded companies and institutions that are very public about their Bitcoin buying, but there's a lot that's not very public. So you're just starting to hear more and more and more, you know, of these kind of even schools now that's buying Bitcoin and holding. They're not buying to trade, they're holding, right? So if you think about it, the supply of Bitcoin is just so low. It's just so low. It's getting lower and lower and lower. You know, you just have to concentrate on that. If nothing else, if you believe in nothing, just worry about the supply and know that the supply is decreasing at an ever increasing rate. Just this list, okay? Just this list of maybe like 20 companies. This already controls, this list of companies already control 1.2 million Bitcoins. There's only 18.5 in existence, and possibly 3, 4, 5 million of that is gone. So really what? There's like 13, 14 million left. Just these publicly traded companies already have 1.2 million out of the 13, 14 million. And then you have to subtract off the 1 million that Satoshi has. And possibly, you know, another million or so, right? You could look through the Bitcoin rich list, you know, some of the early miners and stuff, and you look at the cold wallets, they have hundreds of thousands. You subtract all that, there's just not that much going around. So all the shenanigans, all the whale games, right? That's happening on exchanges mostly because of leverage and because there's just not that many circulating around. Everything is being bought behind the scenes, OTC market. Guess what? When that one day comes where there's absolutely no one selling on the OTC market and all this needs to be pulled from the exchanges, guess what's going to happen then? You know, Bitcoin is going to be above $100, $200, $500,000 then, right? So right now, it's a patience game. You just have to have patience. You have to trust, have faith that, yes, holding is the right thing to do, and it has proven itself over the last 11 years. So yeah, prestigious schools are buying Bitcoin. And lastly, another gaming company agrees to buy 26,000 Bitcoin mining machines. Yeah, so a gaming company now getting into Bitcoin mining seems like a natural fit. There's so many companies that not only are buying Bitcoin, but they're doing what they can to get Bitcoin, right? Offer Bitcoin services or get into Bitcoin mining. Everyone is just involved with Bitcoin at this point. So, yeah, so this is the fundamentals that I like to talk about because you could just see it. You can see the writing on the wall, right? Supply is decreasing, demand is increasing, and this is really the only thing you need to concentrate on. But short term, like I said on this chart, you know, I think this is perfectly natural. I think Bitcoin is doing its thing right now. One last thing I want to talk about. Another reason why I think Bitcoin actually pulled down, and I think some of you guys actually enjoy this, is because certain altcoins started pumping. And it takes money to do that. So I have another theory that the reason why Bitcoin actually pulled down, besides what the charts are saying, is because some of these whales are selling the Bitcoin to buy altcoins. Now, at first glance, you look at this, you're like, what are you talking about? Everything is going down. No, not everything is going down. There are some that are being pumped to the moon. For example, Uniswap just got pumped. They just went up to like $14 or $15 before selling back down. So Uniswap has been pumping. Aave has been pumping. All right, these two seem to go tandem, right? So they have been pumping. Not only that, Theta started to catch up. Theta started to pump. Theta, for the past few days, I mentioned, you know, they were a little weak. Everything else was pumping and Theta wasn't. Well, now Theta is pumping up, right? And if you go down the list, you have a few more that is also pumping. People asking me about Elron, right? This morning, even someone asked me about Elron, saying, do you like it or not? I'm like, you tell me. You tell me why you like it. Well, and they didn't answer. It's Tap Foley, right? But Elron is pumping. I don't know if the cred is pumping. I don't know why they are. But another one that Icon, right? I haven't really talked about them a lot. They're pumping. And another one is Enjin. I talked about them recently and how they got their license to deploy NFT tokens in Japan. They have been pumping. They're on absolute tear. Almost 100% in the last 7 days, right? And Horizon is pumping. So a lot of altcoins are pumping. So another reason why I think Bitcoin may have sold off a little bit is because these whales are utilizing that money to pump a lot of these altcoins, right? The good thing about these pumps is they usually end up higher than where they started. So sometimes, you know, they do pump up and then they dump a little bit, but then the cycle rotates. You get another pump and another dump, right? But the overall end result is it's still moving upwards. And a lot of these projects are relatively good projects. For example, for DeFi projects, I said the two that I like is Uniswap and Aave because they're leaders of what they do, and they have been doing very, very, very well. They're moving neck and neck. One is about 3.6 billion. Another one is about 3.2 billion, but they're climbing the charts really rapidly. The way they're going to be, you know, in top 10 in no time because there's just so many people utilizing them. But other projects like Theta, Enjin, they have gained momentum recently too. VeChain for a little bit has gained momentum, even though it's red. You could see the last 7-day performance, basically zero, while, you know, something like Bitcoin is down 13%. So even VET has been catching up to Bitcoin in a big way. Also others like Polkadot and Chainlink, they have been making strides against Bitcoin, right? So I think a lot of that weakness that we're seeing recently is because of Bitcoin, because of altcoins pumping too. So that's another reason why I think Bitcoin is doing what it's doing. But overall, I think Bitcoin is still the dominant leader. The market will follow Bitcoin, and right now I think Bitcoin is doing just fine. Just fine. I know the range right now is between this 35 and 30,000, right? That's lower than I think most of us want. I think the better range would be 40,000 to 35,000, right? But this next time around, after Bitcoin completes this and goes up and down, and shoots past 34.5, I think that's it. I think then the next range is 35 and 40, and that's when Bitcoin will prepare for the next leg up above 40,000, right? So I think right now we just need a little patience, but I think the next move is pretty clear. Just looking at the 1 hour, unless you have some massive selling all together, and it drives Bitcoin down rapidly from here, I think Bitcoin is set to bounce from here, and tomorrow we could see it possibly be at 34.5 again and possibly even higher. So short term, that's what I'm looking at. All right. I'll turn to you guys. I said a lot. I wasn't planning on talking that much in the stream. I wanted to just have a good Q&A with you guys. So I'll turn to you guys for Q&A while I have a drink. And then let's go from there. Celsius is just following the footsteps of Aave, right? They're both in the same space. Celsius actually did make more headlines before, and then Aave just kind of overran them because Aave's been out a lot longer, and they seem to have a really good team and product, right? They used to be called Ethlin, and Aave's now kind of like leaders. But Celsius have pumped a lot too. Celsius at one point in time was above Aave, which I thought didn't make any sense, but you know what? DeFi is here to stay. DeFi is not going to go anywhere, right? And there are going to be greedy people that want to borrow, you know, they want to put down collateral and borrow and utilize that borrowed money or whatever it may be to utilize that to buy more crypto, right? So that's always going to be out there. There's going to be greedy people that want to basically over leverage, but there's also people that want to stake and just get rewards, right? So yeah, I like Aave and Uniswap a lot, but a lot of people do like Celsius too, and I don't think they're a bad project. I think Alex, the CEO, is also pretty darn good leader. Dominic, I will stick by 100,000 by the end of April. I'm gonna stick with that because I think when Bitcoin moves, it's gonna move very fast. Year end, I don't know. I don't know. Before, when I used to show my chart about Bitcoin's trajectory, I placed at $300,000, right? And at that point, people laughed because I was projecting that when it was like at $6,000. Now you have like Cathie Wood, you have Scott Miner, you got Citibank. That's all making projections that's higher than 300,000. So let's just wait and see. Wait and see. Super Jobs. I just got done talking about that. Enjin, they pumped up a lot recently for a good reason, not just for no reason. They pumped up because they got the first official license from some regulatory body in Japan for them to create NFTs so they can integrate that into games. They got that. That's a huge thing, right? So, and Enjin has been involved with a lot of players too, with Samsung, with their digital wallet before, right? And they've been just hanging in there. Now they're gaining traction. So I do like Enjin. I talked about them a lot before. They kind of died down, but now they're gaining a lot of traction. So I like Enjin a lot. Stop talking about Vercoin. No one can. Whalish games. Why don't you talk about Ethereum? It's going to outshine gold in 21 in terms of growth. Well, everything is going to outshine gold. I mean, outdo gold. But a lot of people are making bold prediction that Ethereum will outgrow Bitcoin in 2021. Now, that's a bold prediction. I don't think that's going to happen. Basically, Ethereum will need to dominate the market. So things like Polkadot, Cardano, all these guys would basically have to be dead. And I just don't see that. I think Ethereum will do fine, but whether or not it could outperform Bitcoin, because people are already predicting Ethereum could be at like 10 or 15 or 20 or $50,000 by the end of the year, I just don't see that. But it could definitely be moving. It could definitely be moving along with Bitcoin. So let's just put it that way. Man, I've been saying whalish games for a long time. I've been saying whalish game for a very, very, very long time. The only way, most people don't realize this. Most new people coming in just think that you could just throw out whatever numbers out there, right? But you got to look at the circuit supply. You got to look at the overall market cap it's at, the price of each token, right? And you got to look at what they do. Bitcoin has a set supply. It's supposed to be a digital currency, a payment network, a store of value. Ethereum is supposed to be a utility token, be used on the Ethereum network to pay for gas fees and other things. So they're different. The circulating supply for Ethereum will not only go up, but the overall total supply will also go up because there is a set inflation rate. Bitcoin, on the other hand, yes, the circulating supply is increasing, but only up to a certain point. Then it stops at 21 million. Ethereum will never stop. That total supply will keep increasing, right? So the only way Ethereum will ever increase Bitcoin is that the usage, the adoption just blows up. And right now it's hindered by gas fees and network congestion, right? If Ethereum can scale, if they can handle tens of thousands of transactions per second, rather than their measly like 15 transactions per second, which is just embarrassing if you think about it. They might have exploded already because DeFi right now is held back by high gas prices. So that's why a lot of people is very enthusiastic about Ethereum 2.0. and scaling and sharding, right? A lot of people is very, very enthusiastic about it. But like I said, Polkadot, Cardano, and others, they're not just sitting by twiddling their thumbs, right? They're playing catch up. So, and they already have a faster blockchain. So Ethereum, Vitalik, and team, they need to step up their game. They need to get going. I don't speak Cantonese, but my wife does. She's Cantonese. I can speak a little Mandarin. Jay, they're not going to make ETH deflationary. They can't. They can't. Because they need to reward the miners, or the stakers. So they're probably going to make the mining part, the proof of work part, deflationary. But going forward with their staking, they're not. They're going to make it inflationary. They're just talking about making it so that it doesn't inflate as much as before. Sam, I don't know about Balancer, man. So I can't really talk about it. A lot of people think I'm Korean, but I'm not. What happened to Crypto Time Traveler? Well, his last few predictions was very off. So yeah, no one talks about him. I don't talk about him anymore either. Are you the guy that pissed off Clint Eastwood? Gran Torino was an awesome movie. Except all the other actors beside Clint Eastwood, they were like B-class actors or C-class actors. Their acting was so bad. But that was an awesome film. Should I buy 1K worth of BTC, 1 ETH coin? I mean, here's the thing. When people ask me that, you never have to choose one over other. If you're new to the space, first of all, don't go all in. Spread out your buy. Second of all, if you're going to buy something, go with Bitcoin first. But if you really must diversify right off the bat, then just split it up. You know, do 75% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum. I think that's a good breakup. If you really want to go greedy, go 50-50. But you know what? You don't have to choose one or the other, right? That's the point of diversification sometimes. Rick, I just got done talking about Voyager, not too long ago. I have a dedicated video. I like Voyager. The app is actually pretty good. A lot of people have been telling me they've been going on the app. I received an email from someone saying that there's a bug, but overall, the app, I've been using it just fine, and it's really good. They allow buying and selling, and they have a ton of assets on there. So, I mean, I like it. And overall, the other things like the team and their staking and they're publicly traded. There's just like so much going for Voyager. So I really like them. And plus, the token is actually going up pretty well too. And plus, I found out today, if you look on this Bitcoin treasury, you'll see that they actually own, not the greatest amount, but they own about 1,200 Bitcoins, worth about $40 million. So if nothing else, they're worth at least $40 million because of Bitcoin holdings. But yeah, I like Voyager. And I have my referral code pinned to the comments and description. So if you actually trade $100 on there, you get $25 free. So that's 25% if you use my referral code. So not too bad, just to throw that out there. Any update on Vegas trip? You tell me. You tell me when it's safe to travel. Because right now, does not seem like it's very safe to travel at all. Would I buy Coinbase ICO? I would. I think Coinbase ICO is going to be a sure thing. As Bitcoin goes up, they're going to be making money, fees left and right, hand over fist. So I would buy their IPO if I could. ADA. What do you guys want to know about ADA? ADA is doing fine. You know what? Just because news-wise, there's not much going on. Let's look at ADA's chart. So obviously, this was a really good pickup. You could have picked up ADA around 27 cents, and now it's back above 34 cents. But you can see recently it's kind of stalled out. You know, going back a little bit, let's go day chart. You know, ever since it pumped up here about 37 cents, it kind of stalled out a little bit for the last few days. And that's because Bitcoin is also, you know, kind of wonky recently. So makes sense. But overall, ADA is doing fine. But recently they haven't pumped up as much as, say, Polkadot and others. They kind of just like been going sideways a little bit, right? So if you look at the, let's just look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour for ADA, it was doing good until now it's turning downwards. So that's not too good. MACD was flipping, kind of flipped. 1 hour is inconclusive. 4 hour, not so good. You know, things are still coming down, right? But daily also does not look good. I mean, daily actually looks horrible. You can see MACD is still flipping down and it's getting more red, and RSI is pretty high. Stochastic kind of going sideways. So I don't know. ADA in the short term doesn't look very good. But again, fundamentals, people love Charles. They love what he's doing with Cardano, right? So that's not going to go away overnight. So there's still a good project to hold on to. Well, Yellen, wait, I missed some super chats here. I don't know how to pronounce that name, the 499. Thank you, appreciate that. And I don't know if I missed some other super chats before, but yeah. Do you think a free trade agreement in Asia will affect VeChain? I don't know. I can't speak to that because I don't even know what the free trade agreement is all about. But I do know if China goes full-blown crypto, which they're already in the process of doing so, VeChain will be doing fine. Just fine. They have the biggest partnerships out there, and they're all related to VeChain. So they're going to be doing just fine. ETC is going to happen? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Do you think this is all a hoax, fake? Like if we're all living in the Matrix? Maybe. Elon Musk thinks we're all living in a simulation, so maybe we are. Who knows? Happy Chinese New Year. It's imminent. A lot of students, young people will be getting lucky money. They want to double their money. That could be. That could be. You still don't believe in NBA Top Shot? It's not that I don't. I just don't like virtual stuff. Like, I don't like virtual stuff. But I do recognize that some people are paying a lot of money for it. But then again, I don't like the fact that NBA Top Shot is charging different prices for different packs. So basically, it's virtually impossible to get one of the high-end cards from a regular pack. Most people are pulling them from the packs that you're paying $2,000 or $10,000 for. So it's, I don't know. Yeah, so it's fine if you want to buy into it, but I don't like virtual stuff. I like physical stuff. For example, this Durant rookie 9.5 black. So I just picked this up. This is worth a lot. I may break this and send it to PSA because it's going to be worth a lot more. That's what a lot of people do. They crack the case and they do a crossover. Here's another one where it's the orange one, ungraded. If this grades well, I'm thinking I bought this from a pack for about $200. If this grades at least a 9, right, it's worth about $1,200. That's 6x. If this grades a 10, which I don't think so, but let's just say it does. This is worth $3,000. So, you know, grading is exponential. It's awesome. So I like physical cards like this. And a lot of the physical cards I bought have gone up 3x, 5x, 10x. You know, so that's why I don't buy NBA Top Shot. I am not Satoshi. I wish I had access. I wish I had his million Bitcoins. That's for sure. Mana buy or sell. I think all blockchain based companies, mining companies, they're all gonna be fine. Riot, Mana, Hut 8, all these guys. They're gonna be making money, so much money. They're gonna be the new like oil tycoons, except they're gonna be Bitcoin tycoons. So I think they're all worth picking up. Unless something fundamentally happens with Bitcoin where it literally drops to zero, these mining companies will continue to make money hands over fist. Joshua, you know what? I like basketball, so I love sports cards, basketball cards specifically. I actually started a channel with a friend, and he kind of took that over. I don't know how well he's been doing it, but I've been thinking about doing that again with him and just doing card chat and stuff because he has some crazy cards. For me, I got in for over a year, but he's been doing it for like 10 years, and some of his prize collection that he keeps in a safe deposit box, they're like insane cards. So cards are definitely hot. It's not a surprise that all assets. So you could say sports cards, you could say stocks, you could say Bitcoin, you could say real estate. All assets have been going up and up and up and up, right? For the last year, since March of 2020, they have all skyrocketed. And the reason for that is because the dollar is devaluing right in front of our eyes, right? The dollar is inflating. People will say, no, it's not. Well, if you verse it against an asset, it is tremendously, especially compared to Bitcoin. Even a year ago, right? The dollar has lost 73% versus Bitcoin. You go back 2 years ago, 88.9%, right? 3 years ago, a little bit better because Bitcoin did fall, but you go back 4 years, 97%, 5 years, 98%, right? So right now, it's good to be holding an asset. It doesn't matter what it is; they're all going up, and mostly because people are afraid of inflation, and because people just, they're bored and they want to spend their money. They want to spend their stimulus checks or something. I don't know, and they're just buying up everything they can, right? But ultimately, that's why everything's going up. Is there any Cardano? Chris asks, is there any Cardano DeFi project you're looking at when smart contract is created? Right now, I'm not looking at any DeFi projects on any of the other projects because none of them are really popular. The only ones I'm looking at are on Ethereum, and they are Aave and Uniswap. I know there's so many people now, and this is starting to remind me again, 2017. I'm hearing a lot more people trying to find, random coins, right? Specifically, a lot of DeFi coins that's built on other blockchains, other networks, and that's fine. But, I don't think it's altcoin season right now. I don't. Some of the big caps and mid caps are doing very well, but the small ones, just like any other pump and dump, a lot of them gets pumped and get dumped, and basically they go nowhere, right? So you got to be careful with that. But right now, I'm not looking at any DeFi projects on any other blockchain protocol besides Ethereum. You know what? I took a lot of slack when I first saw Sushi and I was interested in it, and then I even made a video about it, and people were like, how can you support it? Because I was looking at Sushi at that time. They were a very, very, very good alternative to Uniswap. They were stealing customers away or clients away. They had their own governance token when Uniswap at that time didn't have it, right? So Sushi was gaining a lot of traction, but now they kind of legitimize themselves because they merged with Yale, Yearn Finance, right? So Yearn Finance actually has a pretty good reputation, and they've kind of merged. I haven't really seen it. You have two projects that kind of like merged together, and ever since that, Sushi Swap has been more credible, and they have been doing pretty well, right? But I still like to go with the leader. I've been making an example. Just because you go with number two, that it's cheaper, it's less market cap, does not mean it moves as fast as the leader. I'll bet you if we plot the chart right now, that Uniswap has moved much more than Sushi Swap. And it's the same thing if you plot Polkadot versus Kusama. It's the same thing if you plot Bitcoin versus Litecoin. Sometimes taking a risk on a smaller second best does not mean it's the better choice. So if I was sending $1 in XRP and Bitcoin, which one would I get first? The XRP. I would. And of course, Alan timed them out for that question. All right. Don't ask me about GameStop stock. No one cares. I don't care. I just care about making money with crypto. That's all. And sports cards. And some stocks. Mostly from Bitcoin, though. Look at the graph chart. All right, so I'll end it with this. If I can get it. What's graph? GRT. Well, 1 hour doesn't look very good. 1 hour looks like it's still heading down a little bit more. 4 hour looks better, but not really. MACD is still gaining in strength. And daily, because there's not enough data, daily also looks bad too. So actually for the graph, all the higher time frames, 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily all look bad at this point. So probably not a good time to be picking it up. The 15-minute looks good, but after that, the 1 hour looks bad. So not a good time. Not a good time to be picking it up. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys go. I was planning on just doing a 30-minute stream. Now it's a little bit longer, but urgent update. Basically, I wanted to update you guys on Bitcoin. I know some people are concerned about falling from 34.5 down to where it is now, 32,000, right? Well, long-term, long-term fundamentals like Cathie Wood, JP Morgan, Harvard, Yale, Brown, gaming companies, they're all going to invest, or some have invested, some have advised others to invest, and some think there's more people that's going to invest. They're all very, very bullish on Bitcoin. It's a simple of basic calculated supply and demand. That's it. Simply that. There's just too much demand, not enough supply. So what's going on right now on the exchanges with the whales doing their whalish games? That is exactly that. Whalish games meant to psych you out, meant to cause FUD. You don't want to fall for that. So fundamental, long-term, great. But even short-term, on the 1 hour chart, it looks pretty good. It looks like this is how it's supposed to be. And if this does hold, and this looks like it can, then tomorrow we could see it back, possibly at 34.5 or above. Now, if the whales do want to play more games, right, ultimately it depends on them. If they do want to drop more and cause the volume to be like this, then yeah, Bitcoin can fall, and possibly we could see 30,000 tomorrow. So tomorrow will be interesting. You could see we're like right in between, right? So tomorrow I think it's going to be very interesting. We could go back up to 34.5, or we could see 30,000 tomorrow. So we could see one of the two, but if I was a betting man, if I had to bet one way, I would say that Bitcoin is heading up, because a lot of these time frames show that Bitcoin is oversold, right? And it is set to rebound, but we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. So just want to let you guys know what I'm seeing. But overall, you know what? I like Bitcoin. I like what I'm seeing long term. I like the fundamentals, and that's what you guys should be focused on, right? All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned to my live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, same time every day, every weekday. All right, thanks for tuning in. And for those of you guys that are XRP fans, I still have a lot of XRP army asking me about XRP. I do have a special video for you guys, so take a listen. Bye-bye.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.